It's been 3 weeks since I last shaved, and I'm growing a beard. Surprise, surprise, it's a little bit thicker. It's gone from being stubbly to having a little bit of length, which is great for stroking, either nefariously or innocently. It's up to you. It's also great for contemplating the mysteries of the human condition and solving complex mathematical problems. It's true. Look it up. Before we get into the mugshots, I want to talk about labels, specifically the patchy beard label, but just labels in general. In 2010, I got into triathlon. I had no background in any of the disciplines, but I was training 5 to 6 days a week, doing targeted exercises in preparation for races. I was also reading as much as I can, reading books, reading articles, trying to learn about training methodologies and approaches. And, I was borderline obsessed, and I was curious, is it fair to apply the label of triathlete to myself? I wasn't getting paid to race, and I wasn't particularly good, middle of the pack. But ultimately, I decided that, yeah, it was fair for me to apply that label because one, it was subjective, and two, I wasn't bringing any harm to anyone by applying that label to myself. Now, I can also see people who might race in triathlons, but training and racing isn't integral to their identity, so they sort of reject that label. They say, yeah, it's something I do, but it's not really who I am. On the other hand, you've got quite objective labels. For instance, medical doctor. You have to earn the degree and the license in order to practice. And if you don't, and you call yourself a medical doctor, you're a fraud and you're actively bringing harm to the profession and potentially to others. Let's bring this back to beards. If you have a dense beard with thick all over coverage and you call yourself a patchy beard guy, people are going to tell you to take a hike. My beard is in a bit of a gray area. I think it's has some thin areas. I think it has some patches, but it also has some strengths. So the point of all of this is to tell you that I'm not trying to put myself out there as this guy with this patchy beard. I can't grow a beard and just magically come back in 3 months with a glorious beard. What I am trying to do is tell you that if you think that your beard is weak and that you can't wear one, give it some time and you might be surprised by what you find. Also, there just might be a better way of thinking about your beard, but I'm going to save that topic for another day. Let's get to the mugshots. So let's start with the front. We can see right off the bat, clearly there's a bit more length this week compared to last week, but holy smokes, there's a lot more gray. I mean, it's not more, it's just a lot more evident now. Don't let that scare you. I have never used a turn signal in my life, and I am being appropriately punished for my transgressions. So use turn signals, be a courteous driver, and you'll have nothing to worry about. Clearly that patch in the middle of the chin is still there. The mustache is starting to fill in. There's one side that I feel like is maybe a little bit weak toward the outside, but that's being really nitpicky. If we move to the right side, we can see, especially on the chin, we're starting to get a little bit of length in there. It's starting to have more continuous coverage, which shows the signs of that it's growing. On the cheeks, we can see that it's gaining a little bit of length. That patch is still there at the upper end of the cheek, in line with my earlobe. If we move over to the left side, again, we can see that there's some length that we're getting underneath the chin, just some general length in the cheek area. The trapezoidal patchy spot right behind my lip hasn't really gone away, still there. But aside from that, not a whole lot of change this week. It looks very similar in week 3 to week 2. Before I let you go, I want to talk about one more thing. It was brought to my attention that based on last week's video, I might be spending a little bit too much time looking in the mirror. And you know what? He's right. Looking at yourself in the mirror and scrutinizing your flaws, like pointing out your flaws and scrutinizing your beard, to that extent is not only unproductive, but might even be unhealthy. It makes me think about people with unhealthy body image. I'm not advocating that level of scrutiny. I'm making that video and I'm making these videos for guys with patchy beards or who are not confident in their beard and do spend a lot of time scrutinizing their face in the mirror, to let them know that they're not alone. But I'm also here to let you know that there's a better way. And that way probably begins with not looking in the mirror so much and just letting your beard grow for 13 weeks. What are we going to talk about in week 4? Who knows? That's the fun. Until then. It's more beard stuff.